Be sharing it in a minute. So before I start, I can maybe share what you'd expect. So on this our event, we'll be talking about the basic syntax of JavaScript. And when I say the basic syntax of JavaScript, you expect that we are going to talk about like how we write functions in JavaScript and how we write things like maybe it's an operation, maybe an add operation and such. And most of all, before we continue to that, we need to know why JavaScript, like why you need to run JavaScript and the various use cases of JavaScript. Allow me to check for the presentation in a minute.
And please, there is some noise coming from the background. If your mic is not muted, kindly mute. Charlotte, I can see your mic is not muted.
Welcome,
Okay.
guys, to the event. Now we can start. Like, first of all, we can start by saying what we'll cover. We'll start with the basic syntax of JavaScript, then JavaScript data types, JavaScript variables and variable naming, operators in JavaScript, and then the conclusion. So first of all, to define JavaScript is that it's a scripting language used to create dynamic and interactive websites. So for those who had attended my first event, the Introduction to Web Development, we touched a little bit about JavaScript. And in that event, you can remember like the way we made the page interactive, such that if you could touch the sign-in button, the sign-in form could present, and you could fill your details, and then after touching the sign-in button, the form could disappear. So that's how JavaScript makes the page to be interactive. And then another side what is about JavaScript is that it runs on the client side, that is in the browser, and can be used to manipulate HTML, CSS, and other web technologies. So other web technologies include PHP, because during the other event we didn't touch about PHP and its libraries like Laravel, and there are many more languages, right? Even JavaScript libraries. And then we can go to the features of JavaScript. So first of all, it is object-oriented programming. So what we mean by object-oriented programming is that it's a language such that it mainly relies on objects, and then it allows dynamic typing, prototype inheritance, first-class functions, and asynchronous programming. And now we can run why we need to run JavaScript. First of all, its facility and ability to run on almost any platform. Then its large and active developer community. So JavaScript has a large community such that if you run into a bug or an error, it's easy to find people who can help you to debug and maybe find a solution to your problem. And then another thing why we need to run JavaScript is that its role in creating modern web application, and then its ability to enhance user experience and interactivity on websites. So now what we run about basic syntax of JavaScript, we touch a little bit on statements and expressions, variables and constants, functions and methods, and then control structures. Control structures, they are if-else statements and loops. In loops, there are while loops, there are for loops, and for each loop. And then there are other control structures like switch and others. And then we run about comments in JavaScript. So the comments in JavaScript are used to make your code to readable to others, such that if I write a code, someone else can be able to run my code and know what I was trying to do in that code. So we can start by running what the different types of JavaScript data types. So there are numbers, strings, booleans, null and undefined, and objects. In objects, there are arrays and functions. So I'm going to explain that in code in a bit. So I like doing more the technical part. So I want to do with the PowerPoint part so that we can start the technical part. Then we run about variables in JavaScript and variable naming. So I think maybe we can start with this one, the variables in JavaScript and variable naming. So before I start the variables in JavaScript and variable naming, it's good to say something about the variables in JavaScript. There are two types. The variables in JavaScript are classified into two categories. So the two categories in JavaScript include the immutable and the mutable. So the immutable data types, they are data types that you cannot, the immutable, they are the ones that you cannot change their values, such that when you give them a value at the beginning, you cannot change the value. But the mutable ones, you can change the value later. So the first part, we need to create a HTML file. Then inside the HTML file, you link your JavaScript. And then from there, maybe we can start. So let's write our first JavaScript code. So it's a good practice to start by using this line of code. It's called use strict. And then now we can start writing our JavaScript code. So we can start by variable naming and variables. So naming variables in JavaScript, we use the var keyword. So for example, you can say varx, then you give your variable a value. Like for example, you can say varx equals to a value like 5. And then you also use ret, and you can say like ret y equals to a value like 6. And then we use const. Like you can say const, or maybe const z equals to a value like 8. So using these types of variables, I can simply explain the difference of the mutable and the immutable variables. The var x and the ret y, you can change the values later. You can change the value of x maybe to 8 later, or maybe to 9. Also the value of y, you can change it maybe to 10 or 11. And the const you can't change it, and it is used to define constants like maybe pi. You can say like const pi, const pi equals to 3.142. 142. And to print something on the console in JavaScript, we use console.log. Console.log. And then let's write the JavaScript, the first JavaScript code that every coder writes, not only in JavaScript, but in every language, is hello world, so that you can start the programming. We can see the output of our code in the browser. So you need to go back to your HTML page, and then you need to start the live server. So let's start the live server here. And the page is blank because I had put nothing on the HTML page. So we can go to where you have the more tools, and then on the more tools, You can choose the developer tools, and then let's redo that part. You go to the developer tools. So the developer tools are already here, and go to the console. You see, it have already printed the hello world. That's a code that every programmer starts by writing. And now we can go back to our JavaScript file and continue. Now we can look at the difference between the ret keyword and the var and the const. So for example, we had assigned var x a value of y. Now if you come here and assign it like a value of ret, like x equals to a value like 10, and then you want to print it on the console. So you use console.log, and then you say you want to print x, the value of x. So when you check it on the console, it prints the new value. That's 10. So it's mutable. No, it's mutable, meaning that you can change its value. And now we can maybe do the same thing using y, the one that we had defined using the ret keyword. And at the beginning, the value of y is 6, and give it a value like y equals to 20. Then console.log y. So you can see that it prints that the value of y is 20. So it gives it the latest value that you have assigned. And now maybe we can try to do like for the constant. The constant we had assigned it at the beginning, const pi, we had assigned it a value of 3.142. Now let's try to give it another value, like we say pi equals to maybe something like 20.3, and print it on the console. Console.log pi. So you see you get an error because you're told that uncaught type error assignment to constant variable. So it's a constant variable, meaning that you cannot change its value. So in case you change its value, it's going to give you an error. So in order to avoid that error, you comment it. So commenting in JavaScript, you use to backward slash. That's a single line comment. And then if you want to comment this whole block of code, we use backward slash and then asterisk. So that is used when you want to comment a whole block of code and you have commented that block of code. So we can continue to our PowerPoint presentation. Before we continue to arithmetic operators, it's good to run about JavaScript data types like numbers, strings, boolean, null, and undefined. And maybe we can touch us more about the objects. So you can use the single line comments to explain what you are trying to do. So we want to learn about the data types. One, we can start by numbers. Numbers, we had already done about it, where we did the ret y equals to 6, the z equals to 8, so maybe we can continue to strings. You can use the ret keyword in defining the variables, like ret name equals to David. So that's how we define strings. Then if you console.log name, we expect it to print my name. So it have printed my name, David. And then now we can do another type of variable. We can continue to do something like boring. So the Boolean data types, they define if something is true and if something is false. So for example, you can give a small example of a Boolean is maybe like in coding, 1 is used to represent that something is true, and a 0 means that something is false. Like we can say red equals to we had already talked about the numbers and strings. Now we can talk about things like the borings. Like if you say that va is sunny, that's true, and then now there we have used a control structure, the ifs, but for now we don't want to touch about that. The borings are mostly used when you are talking about the control structures, like ifs. Like if something is true, it performs a certain function, and if something is false, it performs another kind of function. So maybe we can touch a little bit about the variable naming in JavaScript. Let's not touch more about the boring, because that is mostly used in control structures. Let's talk about variable naming. So variable naming in JavaScript, you can use two kinds of variable naming. One, you can use the camel case. An example of camel case is like this one. Let example, if I want to define my name, let my name equals to Muniri. And then another way of naming variables is by use of snake case. So the snake case is by using the underscore, not the underscore, but maybe we can write an example of snake case. You can say my last name is Mwangi. So if we are using the snake case, this is how we write it. And now maybe I can touch on something in JavaScript, that is concatenation, string concatenation. So the string concatenation, it's when you want to join two strings, or maybe you want to maybe include a certain value type in your console. So maybe we can console.log. How you want to concatenate these strings. So console.log David's. Now let's say we want to say my last name. David's last name is, so this is a string, and then here after the quotes, you put a plus parameter, so to mean that you are concatenating the string. And now after this, maybe you can put my name. David. I'm going to print my last name. I have 3 names. So David's last name is my name, and maybe we want to include my other name. So here inside we can say and, but here you have to include another plus sign to mean that you want to join even this string and. So here you can say and his other name after the, and then you refer to the variable name that we had used, that is last name. So what you expect, it's going to print that David's last name is, the value of my name is Munyiri. So at the my name, it's going to put Munyiri, and then at the last name, it's going to put Mwangi. Now you can look at that at the console. Unquote, unexpected. So maybe we can look at the cause of the error. Get the strict mode. And then we can comment on these 2 lines of code because we're already done with it. Then you can go back to the console. So you see it have printed, but there's no space between Ismwangi and the Ismunyiri and Ismwangi. So one thing about JavaScript is that JavaScript understands the space as a variable. So now if you put a space there, it's going to print the space. So you can see it have added the space between Is and Munyiri, and Is Mwangi. So we are done with the variable naming. So maybe now we can look at something else. Or maybe we can look at the operators in JavaScript. So in JavaScript, there are 4 types of operators. So one, we have the logical operators. The logical operators are mostly used maybe like in the control structure. And then we have the comparison operators. They are used to compare the values. And then we have the arithmetic operators. They are used to add variables. So we have the arithmetic comparison operators. So maybe we can start by looking the arithmetic operators. So the arithmetic operators, they are used to perform the arithmetics. So that include the add, the subtraction, the multiplication, division, and maybe when you want to print something like the remainder of a certain arithmetic operation. So maybe we can cover that. Let's comment this block of code so that we can do the new code, the new part. So maybe we can define now new variables that we are going to use in the arithmetic operation. So maybe we can say let x equals to 10. Then another variable, let y equals to 20. Then maybe you can define another variable. Let z equals to a value like that. So to do the addition, you can do it inside the console. We perform the operation. This may be y. So that's the addition. Then we can perform maybe the subtraction. So we can say maybe z minus y. You say that's subtraction. Then maybe we can perform a multiplication. Say like x times y. So in multiplication, we use the asterisk. That's the multiplication. Then maybe we can perform something like maybe a division. We can say console.log. Maybe we want to divide z divided by x. So the backward slash is used to perform the division. And then if you want to find the remainder of a certain function, you can use this symbol, the percentage symbol. So maybe if you say 30, it's called the modulus. 30 modulus will be 10. It will give you the remainder of that certain operation. Maybe we can go back to the browser and see if it performs all those operations. So it has performed those, but here we have an error. Maybe we can check at the error. So here we put the values instead of the variable names. So maybe you can say the z and y, that order. So maybe you can look at the mistake we are making for a minute. Oh, here we didn't put a dot log. We needed to put that dot log. So now we are expecting that it's going to put the remainder of that operation. Yeah, and now it's fine. The remainder of 30 divided by 20 is 10. The remainder of 10 divided by 20 is 10. So now maybe we can look at other types of operators. Maybe the assignment operators. So in the assignment, we use the equals sign. You can maybe use 1 equal sign, 2 equal sign, and 3 equal signs. So each of them in JavaScript has a different purpose to the other one. Like maybe if you say like this is the first example of assignment operators, 1 equal sign. So that means that the value of x, like x, you have assigned it the value of 10. Or maybe you can assign x a new value and say that x equals to maybe a value like 40. So that's the assignment. And then you use the 2 equal signs for the same purpose if they are equal. And then maybe we use the 3 equal signs. If, for example, let's use a simple example here. Like you say let age equals to 34. Then maybe the same age. Or maybe let's use another variable. This is like let my age. Now here we have used the camel case equals to 34 inside the string. If you use the 2 equal signs, it's going to say that these numbers are equal. For example, let's console.log. If those two variables are equal, console.log age equals to my age. Now these are boring, so we expect maybe to get if it's true or false. and you see you get that those two variables are true. But in the rate my age, we had defined it as a string. So the equal signs means that the values are the same. But now if to use the three equal signs, it is used when the values are of the same data type. That is, if both are strings or if both are numbers. For example, now if we say console.log the same age, but now you use three equal signs. Say equals to my age. Here you expect to get that it's false because they are not of the same data type. So you get that it's false because they are not of the same data type. So now maybe we can look at another type of operators. Now maybe we can go to comparison operators. Comparison operators. Comparison operators are used when you want to compare two variables or the value of two variables. Like maybe we can use the same x that we had used, x, y, and z. Console.show. Now we want to get the boolean. It tells us if that's true or if it's false. So like we use we are going to start with the greater than. So we know that from the variables that we had defined, the x, y, and z, we had assigned x a value of 10, but because the data type that we had used, the variable we had used to name it is mutable, that is x is 10, we give it another value of 40. We know that 40 is greater than y. So let's say that x is greater than y. So what we expect from this is that we expect to get a false. No, we expect to get a true boolean. So you can see that that's true. So now maybe we can use another comparison operator like less than. And maybe say like x is less than y. So this one we expect so maybe we can comment on this one to avoid getting confused from the responses that we get for the booleans for the new operation. So we expect this one also to be true. So it's false. Yeah, it is false because x is greater than y. So saying that x is less than y, that's false because the value of x is 40 and the value of y is 20. So now maybe we can go to another type of comparison operators that is greater or equal to. Log. Maybe we can say that x is greater or equal to y. So saying that x is greater than y is saying that the value of 40 is greater or equals to the value of 20. So that operation should be true. Yeah, and you get a true. So now maybe we can use the greater, the less or equal to. So now we want to get a false operation. So x is less or equal to y. Now for this operation we expect to get a false. That's false. You get a false there, false boolean. Now I guess we had done the others for greater like the ones for equals. We can look at another type of operator, the not equal to. So the not equal to, it is used mostly in control structures when you want to tell the, maybe you are writing a function and maybe you want to say that one variable is not equal to the other variable. So maybe you can use it here. You can say that log x, and then you use the exclamation symbol. Say that it's not equal to that value. X is not equal to y. So this because x is not equal to y. And you get a truth there. So we are done with that one. Now maybe we can look at something else. Maybe we can touch a little about functions in JavaScript. And maybe we can use the other types of operators that we have not used. Is the logical operators. So we have the logical operators like and, or. So maybe I can mention them here in a comment and say other kinds of operators. Logical operators. So in the logical operators, we have the OR operator. So the OR operator, you use that symbol to say that it's an OR operator. And then we have AND operator, or you can call it logical AND. Logical AND, that's the dollar sign. Logical AND, you use that symbol. So those are the most used kinds of logical operators. We also have the logical NOT as a kind of operator. So maybe we can do a small function. Functions are used maybe when you want to assign a method and then use that function later by calling it. So we can write maybe a small, like for addition, we can maybe write a small function. So in JavaScript, we have three types of functions. We have the arrow functions and then the regression functions. So maybe we can start by normal functions. So it's a good practice to use the const variable naming type. Now to name variables using const to mean that they are not going to change their values later. So maybe we can say const sum to a function. So and then that. So here inside the brackets, you say that maybe it's going to receive two variables. Maybe because we had used the x and y, maybe we can say it's going to receive y and z. And then what it's going to do is that it's going to add those numbers. So maybe you can say I plus j. Because we want it to return the sum, we can say return I plus j. So it's going to return the value of that operation. Now maybe here we can call the operation. We can call that function and assign it some values. So maybe we can say like like I equals to 3, maybe 5. Let maybe j equals to a value like 10. And now we can maybe call our function here. Function sum. Have not worked. Let's look at something. Maybe we can say sum, and then we assign it the values ij, and then we console.log. Said you put the call the function. So you can see it have returned the sum of those two numbers. The sum of 10 plus 5 is 15. So what the function did is that it added the two variables, that's x, that's I and j. And then after adding those two variables, it returned the value of the addition. Now maybe we can write another small function. We can comment this part of code. That part of code. Now maybe let's say we want a function that maybe prints out your name. Maybe a function that prints your name and maybe something like your age, and maybe some of you can come with an idea, another idea. A function that prints maybe your name, your age, and maybe your place of birth. So const details, you can say that it's going to return details. Const details equals to a function that receives your name, your age, and place of birth. Address. So now we want it to return so in order to put operations inside a string and operations and maybe the variable names, we use something called the retro strings. Those the backticks. So what we're going to write is called a literal string, and you use the backticks. So the position of the backticks at your keyboard, they are next to the escape at the left side of your keyboard. So we wanted to return my name is. So you also use the curly braces to put the variable name inside. Name, and I am I am now there you put age, old, I come from, now there you can put the birthplace. So we want a function that will return that one. So now let's come and assign values to the variables that we had defined. And now maybe let's say that wanted to return my name and my age and the birthplace. So console.log for our function is details. So then my name is David. Then my age is I'm 22. Then I come from Marufaga. So now let's see if our function is going to work. So uncaught reference David is not defined. Maybe you can come back here and see the error. Maybe let's try to use maybe that way and see the output of our code. So it is not defined. So because of that error there, now we have resolved it. Now let's see. So it still brings the same error. Maybe we can try defining the variables here. And then maybe print it to this line of code. Let's say ret. We have used term. Let's say now equals to David. Then let age equals to 22. And let birthplace equals to Arufaga. Yes, that one is enough. Now maybe we can print that one to the console. Console.log details are functioning. Then you can see that now, and then the age, the birthplace. Now maybe we can look at the output of a small piece of code. So you can see that it have returned that my name is David and I'm 22 years old. I'm 22 old. Maybe to put on that one, maybe you can come here and add something. And I am after age, you can add years. Years old, and I come from Warufaga. Now you see what is going to print in the console. So it have printed that my name is David and I'm 22 years old and I come from Warufaga. So now we can look at something else that you want to talk about. So the next thing that you are going to do, or maybe we can touch at the assignment operators, the ones that we had not touched. Then after this, maybe we can call off the meeting. So the arithmetic operators that I'm going to talk about right now, they are not like the ones that we had said before. The assignment operators, I mean. These assignment operators, they are used to simplify or like maybe a wrong operation. For example, if maybe you want to add a value, for example, let's use a new value, let k equals to 3, and maybe you want to add 1 to this 3. And say k equals to k plus 1. And if you console this one, it's going to give you a value. You expect it to give you a value of 4. Maybe you can do it here. Console.log k. It's going to give it the value of k or 4 because we said that when you use thread, it's immutable and you can change the value. So you can see it have given you the value of 4. But instead of writing all this, you can simply say k equals to k plus equals to 1. So what the compiler is going to understand, it's going to understand that you are saying k equals to k plus 1. Now instead of writing this whole line of code, you can just do the same operation by writing this more of line of code. Now maybe we can comment this one, and maybe this is what we want to console. We expect to get the same value. And you see, so that's because JavaScript executes code line by line. So that's why it has given you that value. So if you want to get the new value of k, we need to put the console.log after the operation. Console.log k. Now we expect to get a 4. And you can see the new value of k is 4. So now maybe we can do for the subtraction. See, k, instead of saying that k equals to k minus 1, and simply say that k minus equals to 1. Or because maybe we had done the one for 1, maybe we can say minus 2. And let's comment on this one. So because the value of k was 4, now after this small operation k minus equals to 2, we expect to get the value of k2 to be 2. So let's print that one. Console.log k. And you get the new value of k to be 2. So that's the way you do for all the other operators that now we have done for addition, subtraction. Maybe now we can do for multiplication and other kinds. Now maybe let's say, for example, you want to multiply k by 10. So the value of k for now is 2 after subtracting it. Now if you want to multiply it by 10, you can simply say that k times equals to 10. Then after printing it to the console.log, k, you expect to get its value to be 20, because 2 times 10 is, you can get the new value to be 20 that way. Now maybe we can just change here. For example, if we want to get subtraction or modulus, like for example, you get to get the remainder of 2 divided by 10. So you know that the remainder is 8. Let's put the modulus there and see the value. So you get 2 because the 2 divided by 10 is 2 because it's not divisible. Hence, because you cannot divide 2 divided by 10, you still get the same value. That's to the remainder, because it's 0 remainder 2. It goes 0 times and the remainder of 2. Now maybe we want to divide. Let's assign maybe 10 another a bigger value. Like maybe here, let's give it like a value like 17. And then maybe we want to divide it here. So we said to divide, we use the backslash. Now maybe you can look at the value. You can see that if you divide k divided by 10, you get 6.9. So I guess we can stop there for our today's event, because today we were just going to do the introduction part, and then now it's time for QA, and maybe suggestions that maybe you want to get on our future events and such. So you can say something, or you can type it on the chat area. If you have something to say, you can print it on the, you can write it on the chat area. You can unmute and say something or write something in the chat section.
Hello.
Okay, David.
Yes, Dennis.
So as they continue asking the questions,
Yes.
I would like to drop a form on the chat.
Yeah.
So for the purpose of tracking the attendees.
Yeah.
And to receive the certificate. So the form is for certificate issuing. So make sure if you're on this event, make sure to fill out that form, please, before you leave the meeting.
Yes, and maybe I can say something. So if you have attended this event, we are going to get the LinkedIn premium. And the thing is, it's not everybody who is going to get me clear on that one. It's going to be given by lucky participants. So maybe if they are going maybe to give out like maybe five maybe five gifts, so only 5 people will get. But if you attend each and every event, by the time maybe we are doing the 5th event, all of you will have got the LinkedIn premium gifts. And then if you have attended this first event, it's good that you attend even the future events, like the event we are going to have next week and in the remaining weeks. So like if maybe we do these events for maybe like 7 weeks, by 8th week we will be doing maybe the libraries, the JavaScript libraries like React and Node. So the purpose of this event is that it's going to scale you from a beginner level to an intermediate level, or maybe to an expert level. So like you'll be running each and every week. And maybe so that you can run faster, it's good that after we teach something here, you go and practice on what we have done here. So practice and consistency, it's all that helps a person to become a better coder and a better programmer. Because in coding, it's easy to forget something and encounter a bug. But if you're consistent on doing something, then it's not easy to get a bug, though you gain. So I can see some people telling me that to share the slides. I'm going to share them later. I'm also going to share the to share the code that we have done here. I'm going to share it in your emails. So if you had not registered and maybe you joined when you are continuing, maybe you can register so that we can get your name, and maybe even after filling the form, we still get your name and your email, and we are going to send it to you. And another thing, I'm going to create a WhatsApp group for this event so that you can be getting the communication area for this event. So we can be communicating about this event there. And maybe I can share my number so that you can WhatsApp me so that I can add you to the group. Let me share it in the chat section.
Yeah, and also they can connect with us on LinkedIn. Make sure you drop LinkedIn profile
Yeah, I'm
there.
going to drop my LinkedIn name, and then
Yeah,
I'm going
Dave,
to drop even for Dennis and even for Kemboy.
and also Charity.
Yeah, and even for Charity Jarimo.
Okay,
So
thank you so much for
the event. So
anyone hear me?
maybe Kemboy, you can say the announcement.
Okay, am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for all of you who attended for today's session. And because maybe we have covered some introduction to JavaScript, and maybe if we had members who maybe felt like, okay, we have gone that much fast. So there was like a thing, like an assignment that we given out to maybe help you out to get in touch with the things that we've shared in the session. So I'm going to share the assignments here. Say that next week, as we meet, or maybe when we create a WhatsApp group, so we'll use that group maybe to answer the questions more. Okay, let me try and share it. Yeah, those are the questions that I'm sharing. It's all about what David has said. So, and also to announce that maybe next week we are going to do something. Where is it? So we're going to touch on functions. So David has introduced about functions, and maybe next week you're going to maybe still learn more on functions, and also do something, and also go to the control structure. So those are the topics of that we're going to do next week. So you can research about it, say that when you come next week, so it is going to be much easier for us to maybe try and explain the concepts. So the good thing about JavaScript is not that hard. So whenever you've given an attempt or try to do something, you're going to understand it. So I think that was the communication I was to pass. And yeah, we're going to continue the session, and I hope for the best. Thank you.
Yeah, and please make sure if you haven't, for the tracking purposes, make sure to fill out the form, please, so that you can receive your certificate at the end of after the event.
So thank you guys for attending today's event. If you had a question, I have unmuted the chat. Maybe you can say it there. And then if maybe you don't get that opportunity, you can reach me via WhatsApp or via email or LinkedIn. I'm always available to help you guys.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
So my name is Felix.
Yes.
So I'm just requesting for the itinerary of the course outline so that we can know what we cover until we complete this course.
Okay. I'm going to do that, Felix. You will receive it in your emails.
Okay, thank you. So also for the recording, will we receive the recordings?
Yeah, the recordings, we will also be sharing them. I don't know if Dennis or Kemboi recorded the event.
Yeah, the event will be shared to them via the email. That's why I'm insisting to fill out the form.
Yeah, you're going to receive it there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, can you all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, I can see a question posted by Maxwell. Is there a WhatsApp group? I don't know who can answer that. Dennis?
Yes, we have seen we shall create a group and we'll ask for their numbers through the form they have filled. So they should not worry about the group. They will run them later.
Okay.
What about Joe? I can see Joe is raising his hand.
Joe, you can unmute and say something. So you can see there's another person raising the hand. You can unmute and talk and say something.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Also, I wanted to ask, David, you said that we will be having around 7 sessions. Is that true?
Yeah.
And 1 session per week.
Every Friday.
Right.
Yeah, every Friday, 5 p.m. That's we'll be having our sessions.
Yeah, and maybe if you want more events,
Yes.
we are going to talk about that in the WhatsApp group. So once we add you there, we can maybe say if maybe some of you want some more events, or maybe some of you want maybe something like if you want to have your own meeting with maybe me or Kemboi or Dennis or Charity, maybe you can communicate them from there. You can communicate with them from there and maybe have a talk with them, and maybe they can help you on the area that you want to be helped.
So I wanted to ask, like, in the end of those 7 sessions, since we are actually learning, would I say in parts, like we're learning about the operators and all that, like, are we going to have an end project after all this, or that's up to us?
So one thing, JavaScript has a lot of content. So like we don't know that the part that we have covered in 7 weeks, but we will try to ensure that we cover the most important parts first, and then later maybe we can teach some other parts, and then maybe in future we are going to teach also the libraries, that libraries like React and Node.js. So there's no assurance that by the 7 weeks we'll have covered everything in JavaScript, because we are running by the pace of each and everyone in this event.
Okay, noted. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
I can see Church Kid. You can't access the form. You can share your email here so that I can send it directly to you, please. And David, remember to share your LinkedIn link there on the chat.
Yeah, I'm going to share it.
Okay, David, I think I had the question that belonged, I think it was Lois. She was asking, I think the part that maybe she was asking that will we be doing shall be teaching, shall we be doing projects on this JavaScript course we are doing? So I think that's what we're going to do. Yeah. So it's going to be project based so that we can understand them.
Yeah, we are going to be doing projects, and not only projects. From next week, we'll be having weekly challenges. Like if we cover something this week, we give you a challenge, and then you go and try to use the skills that we have run in the events, in that event and the events before, in order to solve that challenge. So maybe in the next 2 weeks, we'll have our first project, and we'll be doing we can do a website clone, or maybe we can create a game. We can maybe create a pig game, or maybe something like chess. We are going to do such. So expect projects and challenges. So anyone else with a question, you are free to ask. Anyone else with a question, you can unmute and ask your question.
So concerning these JavaScript libraries, so we want to be covering them during this period.
Yeah, after we are done with the JavaScript course itself,
yeah,
we will then begin on the libraries like React and maybe a framework like Node.js, because you can't jump to a framework before you have the full content of the course itself. It's like maybe you can't go to do Laravel before you have done PHP, or maybe you can't do Boot before you have done Java.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Or maybe before we end, all of you can introduce yourselves, because I have not heard anything from some of you. So maybe you can just greet us and maybe say your name, so that it can be an engaging event.
Okay, so my name is Felix Kipto. I'm a JQuat student.
You're welcome. Thank you, Felix. Royce, Chachki, Darius, you can introduce yourselves. Mark, Alfred, in that order.